happiness to the people. Only recently, Governor Rochester Okorocha reshuffled his cabinet, and one of the new appointees was a commissioner for happiness and couples fulfillment, which has created some controversy of sorts. So to help shed a little more light on that development, we have with us We have joining us now a former Commissioner for Health in Imo State, Dr. Edward Ihejirika. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigerians.
Good morning to you. So this definitely, I mean, you have seen part of the outreach and that has greeted that appointment for Commissioner for Happiness and Couples Fulfillment. What was the thought behind that sort of appointment?
Well, let me say that at this point, it'd be proper to correct the impression out there. What it is purpose fulfillment. Commissioner for Happiness and Purpose Fulfillment. It is not couples, but purpose fulfillment. Purpose fulfillment. That's correct.
I see.
Yeah. And I think that, I mean, this happening at a time like this is quite apt because everybody seeks happiness, including you seated here. And the essence is to connect government with the people that are being governed. And as a matter of fact, the very first time that His Excellency muted this, in a meeting that we were having, many of us almost, wondering, why the essence of this at this time. But, with time, we began to connect with this. And the whole essence is, you govern the people, and you want to make sure that the output of whatever government puts in is felt by the people. People are happy when they go to schools, especially when the education is free. You're not paying for it. People are happy when you reduce the time it takes to get from one part of the city to another part of the city because you have done an urban renewal program. You have made it possible to reduce the time that it takes and also reduce stress. The output there's some happiness. You feel some sense of fulfillment if you don't have to spend so much time getting to your next destination. That also includes hospitals. People are happy when they can access a hospital closer to them than it would have been previously. Women are being empowered, and they're able to, reduce the poverty level within the system because they're being empowered. So
it's a good thing that you state all of this obvious. I mean, because some people will say, if you do your work as you have promised to do your work, the people should naturally be happy.
Absolutely.
Why do we need to create a separate ministry to ensure that the people are happy?
It's important to do that because happiness is something that everyone seeks. Everyone pursues happiness every day. Now, if you look at the entire essence of this ministry, it's actually, all other ministries are actually supposed to dovetail into this ministry. For example, there's no program or policy that any of these ministries will be doing that would not be connected directly with the Ministry of Happiness. Because essentially, the Ministry of Happiness will be like a coordinating ministry that will ensure that every ministry in every program that they do actually, seeks to ensure that the people are happy with the outputs of all the programs they'll be doing. So, I mean, it's apt. This is the first time in Nigeria that this is happening, and we're happy to take the lead on this.
Well, the Imo State has been taking the lead on quite a number of controversial things. I mean, let's not go into that yet, but we have seen tweets from the newly appointed commissioner, even though we do not know if those are really her tweets, considering the fact that the handle is not verified. Nevertheless, she said that, this is not the first time this is happening. People do their research. I mean, that is assuming those comments are really from her, that if we do our research and find that in countries such as the United Arab Emirates, they do have a ministry for happiness. The minister has been appointed for happiness. But then, when people compare the variables, when you look at Imo State in Nigeria, you look at the United Arab Emirates, some people will say that there's no basis for comparison on that level.
Yeah, I don't think she's actually making a comparison. She's just stating the obvious, that this is happening somewhere else. Imo State is a state in Nigeria, and in the last 6 years, this government has set up a platform to ensure that we create an enabling environment and make the people happier.
The question is, what indices would have informed it? Did the government notice a rate of depression among citizens? Has the rate of suicide gone up in the state? What precisely what numbers have informed the creation of a ministry for happiness? For instance, how is it going to be measuring happiness?
Yeah, but you can definitely measure happiness because the people feel an essence of fulfillment, okay, when they realize that some of the promises that have been made by the government are actually being realized in terms of projects and programs that have been done by the government.
So what indices does the government intend to use? Is it going to be going around conducting a poll?
I just mentioned a few, okay? We've reduced the access time it takes to get from one part of the town to another part. It used to be 2 hours to get from just Old Owerri to New Owerri. We've reduced that time to about 10 minutes because we created more roads, we expanded the infrastructure as far as road construction is concerned. I would also just say that we did an empowerment, okay? People now, a couple of women were empowered. Okay, about 300 and, in the 305 wards we have, about 10 women each were empowered. And that enabled them to start, small-scale kinds of businesses, reducing poverty. So, you see, we're using indices, various indices from various sectors to ensure that the government connects with the people in terms of what it is doing, and that output creates a sense of fulfillment, and that makes the people happy.
So, you did that without the creation of a ministry for happiness. What precisely would form the day-to-day activities of a ministry for happiness?
Absolutely. Going forward, every ministry, okay, in whatever programs or projects they're going to be doing going forward, it has to, be in synergy with the Ministry of Happiness. In other words, the Ministry of Happiness will be like a coordinating ministry for every other ministry. And this ministry is very dear to the heart of the governor. And it's important that, we see, to the success of this ministry, because we want to ensure that every ministry going forward must, dovetail into this coordinating ministry of happiness. It should be about
happiness of the people of Imo State.
Absolutely.
Part of the questions people have asked is, well, it's one thing for you to create a ministry of happiness, which would raise eyebrows because it's never been done anywhere on the African continent. I have, done some research. I found it, yes, in United Arab Emirates, and perhaps a state in India, and even there it raised eyebrows. But then what people also find a little odd is that the governor appointed his sister to head such a ministry, which for them is a clear case of nepotism.
Well, I wouldn't say that because the lady in question has been in government for a while. And she's eminently qualified. She's been a deputy chief of staff. She understands the internal workings of this government. But what is important there is that this is a supervisory position. All right. She is supposed to be supervising this new ministry until effectively a substantive commissioner is appointed for the ministry. So I don't think there's any wrong. As long as she understands the role, she understands the message that the governor wants to send out to the people, I think it's okay for her to be in that position.
What qualifications do you need to be a commissioner for happiness? I'm just curious. You say she's eminently
well, you have to be exposed. You have to have been around at least and understand what it takes to get people to be happy, and then connect with them as far as the ministry is concerned.
Well, I understand that my colleagues have questions for you from Lagos.
Okay.
Yes, we do indeed, but we'll direct the question to Liboros Oshoma here. When you hear, the first time you heard about this, my question to you behind the scene was that, is this in any part of the country? We established that it's in the UAE to begin with. But do you think that the structures are right to begin to entertain a ministry such as this for happiness?
Yeah, without taking out anything from Imo State Governor, who's always in the news for the wrong reasons.
Those are your words, though.
Yes, my words. One would have expected, if you had named it Minister of Welfare and Youth Empowerment, probably people wouldn't raise eyebrow.
Because we already have happiness about projects also.
Yes, happiness about
well-being of the people.
Yes, happiness about well-being, welfare. But what are the indices for creating happiness in a state where they can hardly pay salaries, and it's a civil service state? Partly civil service, partly agrarian. This same governor, not too long ago, we learned he mooted the idea of civil servants, working 3 days a week and then farming 2 days out of those 5 days. And then that also was in the news for the wrong reasons. And now, this is a state that can't pay salaries. And then you're creating a ministry of happiness. The indices for creating happiness is when a man, you put food on the table. A man goes to work, and at the end of the day, he's able to put food on the table, roof over his head, and from I listened to the former commissioner, and I've been laughing really. you say it's a coordinating ministry to coordinate all other ministries to ensure that people are happy. Even in places where they have created such ministry, it's like where you find out that there is a gap, you know, between the workers and the youth, and so they created that ministry purposely in the United Arab Emirates to ensure that the needs of the young people in these places are met and fulfilled, and ensure also that you find a way of plugging them into the system. But here, the ministry is to coordinate other ministries and create happiness. Do you need a ministry specially to create happiness if every other ministry is doing what they ought to do? You know, and the government is providing welfare and security for the people.
You see, well, what people are looking at in Nigeria, Nigerians really want the basic things. They want a better education, better healthcare, better roads, electricity.
Yes. Yeah.
If these are provided, or should I say, if these have not yet been provided to this point, do you think that such a ministry will cover up for that?
Gilbert, I go to Imo State a lot. Last time I was in Imoimo. Slept in Owerri, went to Ami, came back, and the roads the commissioner is talking about, I'm trying to, you know, imagine where these roads are. You also remember not too long ago, the governorship aspirant in the state dragged the governor to the Owerri High Court over some constructions, roads that are being constructed, and they said they remembered that they just forgot that there were no drainages, side drainages, and so they started all over again, demolished almost structures along that Olu Road, and the bridge, the overhead bridge that the government is constructing on that place, is a disaster also waiting to happen. There's a tunnel around a tunnel close to Concord Hotel. Anytime it rains, that tunnel is flooded, and they call it, you know, so you look at the road, you ask yourself, these are projects, you ask yourself, these projects, were they properly conceptualized? Were there drawings and approval for all of these things? And then you create a ministry for happiness.
Is there a law backing this ministry?
You know, because it is the prerogative of government to create, to appoint, governors to appoint commissioners, and so with the way the commissioner is talking, and then with what we have as State's House of Assembly, it will be easy for the governor to have his way around most of these things. And then appointing, people also have said this, that the Imo State is run as a personal estate of Rochas Okorocha. I feel bad. You know why I feel sad and bad? Because this was the same man who came sometimes back preaching Rochasnomics theories that I wanted to rule, want to be president of Nigeria, and you know, some of us actually,
let's allow Mr. Ihejirika to respond to your thoughts.
Well, I'm sure Dr. Ihejirika will definitely have a response for Liberals.
Well, with due respect to the comments that Liberals has made, there are ministries, you know, starting with what you said initially. There's a ministry for social development, and so there's no gap as far as social development is concerned. And I want to mention that Imo State has actually done quite a number of roads in the course of this administration. And I'm not sure where you're making your assessments from. However, it's important to know that His Excellency is someone who is ahead of his time. And he's made his plans, and he's able to carry them forthwith. And the Imo people are happy.
Are you saying this sincerely? Because he did not dispute that roads were done. What he said was the quality of the roads. He talked about how roads were done without drainages, and he talked about how some of the roads are already beginning to fail. Are you aware of this? Or are you saying that those do not count? Only recently, the president of South Africa was in Imo State to commission a road. I saw that road, and I asked if this is the road that the president of South Africa came all the way from South Africa to commission in Imo State. There are questions about the quality of the work that has been done.
Well, first of all, the important thing is roads were built. Roads were not there before, and these roads were built. Access has been created. The road you talk about, the one that the South African President commissioned, has drainages. Okay, that is a very good road. Whenever you visit it, it would be nice for you to go and see it, because it's right there on the ground.
I have seen it.
Yes.
And I can tell you it's not impressive. This also leads into a road that has some arcs over it. The question was, what was the arcs about, and how come the quality of the road is suspect? And all of this are happening at a time we cannot pay salaries. People would imagine that if salaries are paid,
I was going to come to respond to the salaries.
People would naturally naturally be happy.
Yeah. Well, there's a beautification program going on, and what you see in the arc you talk about is part of the beautification of the urban city of Owerri, okay? And that road that the President commissioned, I dare say, is a very good road. You need to go and look at it because it has drainages on both sides. And as a matter of fact, salaries have actually been paid. They're being paid. And the state government reaches, agreements with the labor, and salaries are being paid. And I'm sure that Imo people are happy.
Okay. Well, we will wrap up on that conversation. I think that people of Imo should also let us know if they're happy with the creation of a Ministry for Happiness and Purpose Fulfillment when we come back from this break. Please stay with us.